There. And there we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Wiza, welcome back. We always appreciate the time here. Mayor's Monday, WSAU, WSAU.com. Of course, today we start out with the really difficult questions, which is given the loss of Manuel Neuer during yesterday's 3-0 win over Bayer Leverkusen, how serious of a contender is Bayern Munich for the Champions League right now in Europe?
Well, in my most politically correct analysis, I think that the forthcoming information regarding the aforementioned bout is something that is, I mean, you have to understand there's two sides to it. But I really think that eventually the winning team will prevail. And I assume this is a sports reference. So I don't know. I'm just trying to make up words at this point, Michael. I have no idea if you even spoke English.
You made it longer than I thought you would. Actually, I had a bet and I think I won, but I need to double check. We may need to go to replay on this
Okay.
to see where you actually fell off the wagon. But you did better than I thought you would.
Yeah. I'm practicing for my State of the Union address or address to Congress, right? I'm going to use a lot of words, not say a whole lot of anything. But
Yeah, exactly. And
was I right? Was I right? It was a sports ball
it
thing.
was a sports ball reference,
All
though.
right, so I'm getting
You got
better.
that. You got that, and you made it a little longer than I thought you would before you fell off the wagon.
So
So
what
again,
what type of ball?
soccer.
Soccer. Okay.
Well, yes,
All right.
exactly. Well, and as we said, Mayor Weeza, we always I gotta try and get you to talk sports just a little bit. But again, it's
I'm
been a
learning
part.
things just through osmosis, right? Just from the fact that your backgrounds and things like that, I'm learning more
Exactly.
about sports. So
Exactly. But
maybe
and it's
someday.
also something you've had to deal with. Again, last year we had the big golf tournament
Oh yeah,
in Stevens Point. This year you're putting the final touches on how Stevens Point is going to benefit from the NFL draft, which is next
right.
month. I mean, it's
I,
not almost
yeah,
here. It's basically here right
it's right
now.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
How
know, and the
much?
other thing we've got Century World is hosting the Rolex Girls Tournament this year too. So another big golf tournament. We've got a lot of sporting activities that go on. It's just I don't understand them enough, I guess. I'm, I'm getting better.
What you do understand, though, is putting the city of Stevens Point on the map and making a buck or two off of this, just based on room tax revenue, sales tax, and things like that. You do understand that aspect.
I certainly do. The economics of any event, really, not just sporting events, but the economics are something that I can definitely relate to, definitely understand. And the fact that Green Bay is hosting the NFL draft ripples out, and it will ripple as far as Stevens Point and beyond. Those ripples are going to get smaller and smaller as it goes out, but it's still an impact here in central Wisconsin. And I think people understand that. I know there's some parties that are going on. People are planning events. The hotels are packed, and of course, we benefit from that via room tax and sales tax, all of which come back to Stevens Point to help us put more heads in beds and help sponsor some more of these events. Of course, the Rolex Girls Golf Tournament is going to be another big deal at Century World, world-class golf course that is I was literally internationally known.
Mm-hmm.
But the facility just keeps getting better and better over there. So yeah, those are the things that I can relate to.
Yeah, indeed. And what are your plans right now around the draft? I mean, how much have you been involved, or has it mostly been the visitors bureaus and things like that?
So the visitors bureaus, the hoteliers, they're really involved. I did get some phone calls from some teams asking me, what I thought about this person or that person, and where they should be placed in the draft and that sort of thing. But honestly, I'm holding off all of that judgment. I told them that I wasn't available. It'd be an unfair advantage, really,
Mm-hmm.
for me to get involved directly in the draft. But I did say, if you got any extra hats left over, I'd be willing to take a couple.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that would honestly be my dream goal is to go to the draft with Mayor Wiza and have Mayor Wiza going around asking people about random players just to see if they know
There
who
you
they are.
go.
That you see those videos every now and then, and they just get absolutely
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'd be one of those idiots on the street, when they talk about a sports anything, and
Yeah.
I try and make up words just like I did
Gotta,
earlier.
the one you got to listen for this year is oily hips. You're a
Oily
defensive
hips,
back. If you can smoothly open up your hips to run backwards alongside a receiver, you have oily hips.
oily hips.
Yeah.
See here, I thought that was the third round draft pick from Georgia.
It could be. It could be. You never know.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, Michael, that's trivia time. So Stevens
Yeah.
Point hosts the world's largest trivia contest every April, and this year is no different. We got 10,000, 12,000 players coming on 300 teams for 54 hours of the world's greatest trivia contest on WWSP, the university radio station.
hmm So, what are the preps that are underway right now for trivia here in Stevens Point?
Well, since we host it, not only do you have the standard note taking and random show watching that goes on, but we have to think about by making sure we're stocked on toilet paper and food and drinks. We host it, so there's food. We have turkeys and breakfast. We make French toast, so you got to make sure you got enough bread and eggs. And eggs are going to
hmm
be the big one this year, right? Because they're like what, 4.95 a piece now, something
Exactly,
like
right?
that. I don't know. I was expecting egg prices to go down, and they've actually gone up. So I don't know
Exactly.
what's going on. Gas prices are still in the $3 range. I don't know what's going on here, but prepping for trivia is more than just honing your brain.
hmm
It's making sure that you've got well, in this case, our house, right? We set up spare beds and cots and things like that in some of the spare rooms, and make sure we got enough, with 4 gallons of orange juice and 6 gallons of milk and you know
hmm
15 dozen eggs, whatever it happens to be. So
Yeah.
we're getting ready for that.
Absolutely. And as far as the city goes, then again, this is the biggest weekend of the year. I mean, I understand that this is like for the grocery stores and things like that. This is like a
Yes.
second Thanksgiving, or I guess you could say a third Christmas
Yep, sure.
for those in the city.
Yeah, the stores, the hotels, they're packed. It's a tremendous impact on the community economically. And I told you before, I can understand that. When I was younger growing up, I didn't care so much about it. I just wanted to play trivia. But now seeing this from a mayor's perspective, the economic impact that it has on our community is just tremendous. People come from all over this country and all over the world to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, to play trivia once a year. It's probably bigger than homecomings, or probably not bigger than the NFL draft, but bigger
Right up there.
than the Beatles. Let's say that,
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if
right?
the
To
Beatles ever played
paraphrase
it.
John Lennon's famous quote, "We're bigger than the Beatles."
I don't know if the Beatles ever played at the Fox Theater, but they should have.
Right? And there were, I don't know, maybe some cockroaches, but probably not
Yeah,
Beatles.
probably.
But we
Probably.
still have city business to take care of too. And
Indeed.
tonight, one of the bigger things on our personnel committee, we're talking about a couple of people on council have introduced the possibility of hiring a city administrator and reducing the mayor's duties, as one person, alderperson said it, to ceremonial only. We've had a mayor here in the city of Stevens Point for generations, well over 100 years. They did try a city administrator for a while, but quickly went back to the mayor status. Instead of the people electing the people that want to lead the city, it's not uncommon. There's communities all over the state that have administrators, but the administrator would then answer to council effectively. So that discussion has been ongoing. They're going to discuss it at the personnel committee tonight, and there could be a final decision on this as early as next Monday at the common council. There is no need for a referendum. There's no need for the alderpersons to necessarily put it to a public vote. I would hope they would, but at this point, there is nothing requiring it. Some of the other things we've got going on, of course, the Gerke Park potential master plan is on the table now. We're having a meeting later this month. I think it's the 27th. Don't quote me on that, but to talk about what you want to see in Gerke Park. We did the same thing just a couple of months ago in Sarimer Park, putting it out to the community. These are community parks. We want to make sure that we're providing the amenities and the services and the facilities that people are actually going to use. So we started with a drawing and a concept, and we're going to put that out to the public to talk about what do we want? Do we want to see all of these things? Do we want to change it? That'll go on for the next couple of months. We're also looking at rewriting our zoning code. We just got approval from council to do that. That zoning code goes back, again, a couple of generations from its inception. But most recently, a lot of the things came into play in the 1970s, which don't really apply anymore. So rather than piecemealing it like we've been doing since, we're going to look at a comprehensive rewrite of the zoning code. So there'll be some public meetings on that one. Keep an eye out for that when those meetings come in. And those things talk about, what you want built in an R3 residential development, or what you would allow in what do you consider light industrial versus heavy industrial, setbacks on houses, minimum lot sizes, minimum house sizes. Those are the things that are governed by zoning. And then in addition to that, we're still continuing on our comprehensive plan rewrite. The last full rewrite was back in 2005, but we've been working on it for the better part of 15 years now, rewriting that or updating the comprehensive plan. And that really is kind of a roadmap on where we sort of see the community going over the next 10, 15, 20 years. Obviously, that's a living, breathing document. It evolves constantly, but we have these major input sessions every 10, 15 years, something along those lines. So those will be coming up as well. And that probably is going to take the better part of a year, year and a half to get that done. Of course, this time of the year, sorry, Michael, I'm hogging the whole thing. This time of the year is what we call pre-construction. The old saying, there's two seasons in Wisconsin, winter and construction.
Indeed.
Well, we're almost at the end of winter, almost at the beginning of construction season. So we're going to be looking at all of the road construction projects we'll be doing through 2025, which includes some roads on the north side. And rather importantly, up for council approval next Monday is some right-of-way acquisition for the proposed roundabout on Business 51 at 4th and Division. That's going to be happening as early as next year. So people need to be aware of that. There's still time to change the design a little, but we need that input, and contact your alderperson. Let them know what you think. There's still time to inject your thoughts.
And again, as you alluded to, that's a lot in the
It's a lot.
few weeks or few months. How do you suggest that people inform themselves on these subjects? Because again, going from a strong mayor form of city government to a city administrator and a part-time mayor, you're talking about a major change there. And obviously that's something that you want people to be informed of and have the most information to make their best decision or provide the best feedback they can to their alderperson, which is, I guess, what it sounds like would be the case in this instance.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, tonight's packet contains a lot of information. It talks about how we might fund it from various departments, what would need to be cut in order to help fund this position. The comptroller, treasurer, and human resources estimate it's going to be over $200,000 for this position with salary and benefits. Well, our budgets haven't allowed for any increases. We've had 0% increases in our operational budget for 5 full years. There's just not enough meat on the bone left. So things will have to get cut to fund this position, or we are going to have to raise fees as suggested by one of the alderpersons. Raising the fees, however, puts people in the lower income brackets out of the running for the use of our lodges for a birthday party or whatever it happens to be. If the fees to rent those facilities are too high, only the wealthiest in our community will be able to afford it. That's not good either. But it was said in one of the memos asking for this that, the mayor's got a full schedule with ribbon cuttings and meetings with the governor and things like that. And that's part of the job, yes. But what people don't see are the other things like we just talked about. All of those things going on regarding economic development and tourism and making sure that our comprehensive plan is being implemented. Those are the day-to-day things that aren't as exciting, so they don't necessarily make television or social media. But we rely on reporting, much like what you're doing, or
Hmm.
some of the local news outlets, to keep people informed that yeah, there are a lot of things that are going on in city government that aren't in front of the spotlight. And that's what the mayor's job is.
Hmm.
So if if people out there are thinking that things aren't getting done because there's ribbon cuttings going on, that's just not the case.
Hmm.
I haven't seen any good reason as to why a city administrator would help us do things we're not doing right now.
And again, and I've had you on the record as saying this in the past, but we'll bring it up again. If it were to morph into a some sort of referendum, which would then have to be not next year's spring election. Obviously, the deadline for this year's spring election has been passed. That is something that you would support because again, you are elected. It wouldn't be any change in the immediate future. It would be a change after your next term in
Right.
27, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
So, what would you support that? Do you support maybe taking it to a referendum, or are you just kind of in the camp where you hope that maybe this just goes away completely?
No, I think it's a valid discussion. If people feel that there aren't things being done right now, I'd really love the opportunity to get them done right now. There's no real good reason why it can't be done right now. But if the voters of our community want to change that and get an administrator in here and reduce the duties of the mayor, whomever it may be, I would support that if the voters support it, because honestly, that's what our job is. Our job is to represent the people that elected us. And if we're not doing that, then fundamentally we're wrong and we shouldn't be in office.
Well, Mayor Weasel, we always appreciate the time. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
I got to tell you too, you got to come down, Michael, because last Friday,
Yes.
Belts was open. So,
Ooh.
yeah, Belts are soft serve.
Yep.
Yep, it's open. So come on down. We'll grab a cone together.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't need to tell me twice.
All right. If we don't talk to you, have a good Easter.
You as well. Yep.